Peace, peoples. Peace. Current event, what? Tuesday. Just like it's Taco Tuesday, it's Current Event Tuesdays, ladies and gentlemen. We got some more stories that's coming out about these officers from Memphis. See, I said y'all gotta let it play out before y'all start jumping out the window, because there's all types of stories coming out now. Remember, we did a Donald Goins novel yesterday. Well, I'm gonna let y'all hear for yourself of the different complaints that's going on behind these officers. You got one story saying that it was a love affair type of deal, where as though he was messing with one of the officers' children mother. They worked together, and he didn't like Tyre Nichols messing with his kid's mother. Hate shit that goes on in the African hate, self-hate, y'all. But we gonna get into some stories, and I'll let y'all be the y'all listen to the stories and y'all come to y'all conclusion of what y'all think about it. You know what I'm saying? Let me come into this. Cut that down. So it won't be, you might still see the notifications. Let's see, y'all. Let's get into, then we're gonna listen to attorney Benjamin Crump. Or do y'all want to listen to Benjamin Crump first, and then we get into the stories? Because Benjamin, hold on. We're going to get into the stories, y'all. How about that? Trey King. This Trey King here, y'all, on YouTube. Good brother. We're going to listen to what Trey King has to say about the situation.
And much love to each and every back again to y'all in the video. Hope y'all are having a very great day. Hope y'all are having a very great week also. My day is going absolutely stupendous.
Don't worry about the notifications, ladies and gentlemen. They're the people I'm subscribed to that y'all might see it come through the video.
Big shout out to everybody in the great state of Tennessee.
But
everybody in the great city of Memphis. Now, before I start the story, I want to send a special condolences out to the family of Tyre Nichols, because it's very sad what happened to this young man. And all this could have been prevented if a butthurt, yes, ex-boyfriend would have went on by his business and left this man alone, because this man did not have to wind up dead. And shame on anybody that's saying that they are trying to change the narrative, because the narrative should always be justice for all, no matter what color you are, no matter what sex you are. But anyway, I also want to thank my channel members and also my subscribers for sending me this story, because I was just waiting till a little bit more details come out. And yes, I wasn't one of the first one to jump on the story, because I knew it was just some fishy. You get what I'm saying? I ain't talking about Star Kids Tuna. But as you look a little deeper, guess what? A lot more things come to the light. Now, what's being said lately is that ex-officer that is, Demetrius Haley, who happened to be 30 years old, baby mama, works at FedEx, and also Tyre Nichols was working at FedEx. And as you can see, this was confirmed by CBS News, because you know CBS be on every damn thing. So people are saying that the reason why Tyre Nichols was killed was because ex-police officer Demetrius Haley did not like the fact that he was dating his child mama. I'm going to tell you like this, when somebody don't want you, the best thing to do is let them go. But the fact is this also is that you got these other guys tied to this mess also. And you have to understand one thing about these cops. And I'm not talking about all cops. I have cops in my family also. And big shout out to all the good cops out there, even though I know they are few far in between, but you still have good cops in the work. I'm not going to sit up here and try to make every cop to be bad. But also, if you're one of these so-called good cops and you protecting and you hiding information and getting your friends off, and you know your friends out here doing wrong by the citizens and stuff that pay your salary, shame on you. Because if you're going to be right, be right. If you're going to be wrong, be wrong. But I'm going to say this right here. This is what happened when you follow the wrong people. Now, January the 7th, Tyre Nichols was on his way home, and he was approximately between 80 to 100 feet from his home, where he was stopped by, yes, Demetrius Haley and the Goon Squad. But even though they are not called the Goon Squad, they are affiliated with some kind of gang unit that they have. And my thing is this right here: if you're affiliated with a gang unit, why are you sitting up here following a guy who has no criminal record or whatnot? Because you're not going to have a criminal record working at FedEx or UPS like that. But how can you follow a guy with no criminal record and then your justification for stopping this guy and beating the living hell out of him was the fact that you said he was driving reckless? And clearly he was not driving reckless. And I'm going to tell you something also. This is what my people told me who are cops also, even though they don't like to share the secrets, is that one of the easiest things to stop somebody on when they're driving is for reckless. You know what I'm saying? Reckless driving, like if they cross over the white line or if they veering side to side too much or whatnot. I mean, that's the easiest reason for you to pull somebody over. So upon pulling Tyre Nichols over, Demetrius and his squad proceeded to, number one, snatch this man out of the car and within a matter of seconds started beating the living hell out of this man. And also, how you sit up here and give somebody 70 to 80 commands and then you expect them to comply with all commands when you have one officer saying do this and then you have another officer saying do that. That was clearly a setup because that's what cops do sometimes. It's no different than you walking out taking these field sobriety tests sometimes. Those tests are designed to make you fail. Now, true enough, I don't agree with driving drunk, but at the same time, I mean, if you're going to be a police officer, at least be right. Because guess what? They could be you or even your family being done like that. But at the same time, how we go from you stopping a guy from driving reckless and then this guy winding up being beat and then these punks have the nerve, yes, these punks have the nerve to brag about it. Man, I was hitting him with straight. Now, 5 of these cops was arrested. 5 of these cops were black. And then you had one white officer who I think was using a stun gun. He was not charged, but he should also be charged also. Because guess what? You could have easily called in for help. But I understand, like I told y'all earlier in this video, is that these cops protect each other. So I want to make this point also before I start the story, is the reason why people are saying that Demetrius Haley is behind this. Number one, what cop sit up here and arrest a guy, beat him down, and then pull out his cell phone, start taking pictures, and also texting somebody. And they saying the person that he was texting was his ex-baby mama, showing her what he did to Tyre Nichols. And shame on him for doing that. And they all should be punished. This man stayed in the hospital for 3 days, lost his life. I'm going to tell you this right here. So anybody sitting up here and saying that he could have complied, how can you comply when somebody wants you dead? You get what I'm saying? It's no difference if you walk down the street and you crossing the road and nobody's in your way. All of a sudden, somebody just pop up in your way. You know what I'm saying? Whether they run over there towards you or stop a car. I mean, some things you cannot avoid.
So all that might come out in court, ladies and gentlemen. If this story is true, you know what I'm saying? If this story true or what Trey saying, all that's the girlfriend, all of them gonna get subpoenaed to come to court. You know what I'm saying? All of them gonna get subpoenaed to come to court during that trial. You know what I'm saying? But that's one story. Then we got let me see, y'all. It's another story here. A man recalls encountering the Scorpion Squad, ladies and gentlemen. This man here, he said like 2-3 days.
Your go-to app for free
Hold
streaming.
on.
The 5 breaking right now at noon. An Overbrook High School 9th grader shot walking to school. The high school quickly placed on lockdown as he was rushed to the hospital. Good afternoon to you, everybody. The 5 fired.
But this man said he encountered the Scorpion Squad 3 days before they did this incident to Tyre Nichols. We're going to get into that story. Let's go.
The 5 fired Memphis police officers hadn't been with MPD long, and police haven't told us what units they worked with during their time on the force. But some who know the officers say at least one confirmed he, and we're hearing several, were with the newly created Scorpion Squad that MPD started in 2021 as a solution to fight crime.
Their job is to identify the target area, flood that area with officers, and suppress crime in that area, mostly by visibility. Just being present and having the officers there, it sees an impact on it.
And this audio from Broadcastify of police radio traffic the night of Tyre Nichols' beating specifically mentions calling more Scorpion units to the scene.
You know, the Scorpion car pull over to East Ranger Road, have one running on foot.
Cornell McKinney says the same Scorpion unit stopped him January 3rd, 4 days before Nichols was pulled over.
I actually read it on the back of their vest. It said MPD Scorpion unit.
It was at this Marathon gas station at Ridgeway in Knight Arnold as he was catching a ride with a friend.
All I heard is freeze, get out the car. Put your MF hands up before I blow your heads off. Both of you, get out the car. So put your hands up. So I put my hands up, and one of the officers proceeded to come to the car, and he physically pulled me out by my shoulder with a gun no more than a foot away from my head.
He says the officers in unmarked cars would never say why they had been stopped. He took this picture of the stop. They eventually asked who the drugs belonged to.
I said, man, I just went across the street to get a pizza, and I'm on my way back to the house. He's like, well, who finna ride with this pound? I said, well, can we call my lawyer? And the officers, he yelled out, well, this ain't court. This ain't a time for lawyer. I was like, man, I just came to get a pizza. So he was like, man, we just playing. It ain't a pound in a car. And he let me walk off.
He showed us his call log when he says he placed 2 phone calls to MPD's internal affairs to complain about the officer's forcefulness, but he says he still hasn't heard back. Then he saw the picture of the 5 officers fired in the Tyre Nichols case.
I was like, that's them. I said, that's crazy, that's them. I said, now they done really hurt somebody. This could have been prevented if the internal affairs took action like I was asking them to do.
We asked Memphis police about the stop involving Cornell McKinney and are also
it wouldn't
waiting
have took them
those
by you putting in your complaint. It wouldn't have took them 3 days to respond to your complaint because they would have had to investigate what you're talking about first. They just don't leap out the window like most of our people do. We leap out the window first. You got to investigate whatever you're talking about. We have to investigate what you're talking about so we're not making no mistakes to be sued, open for lawsuit. So that 4-day thing, of course they wouldn't respond to that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's going to take them about at least 4 days just to get the complaint. You see what I'm saying? By you calling it in, you still got to come in. You got to make an appointment. You got to come in. You got to sit down with them. That's going to take a couple days, my friend. So I understand what you was trying to say, but let's go.
Those who know some of the officers are waiting to see how all of this plays out. Former Shelby County Sheriff's Captain Benny Cobb says he has spoken with one of the fired officers who he coached years ago.
It's been a roller coaster ride. Emotionally for him, he's been in my office. I prayed with him a couple of times, shared some information with him, and now as a result of termination, there are more questions that's being asked. I know the human person. Now, if he's guilty of what he's accused of and what he's been terminated for, of course justice has to be served.
April Thompson, WREG News Channel 3.
And as April mentioned, we are working to get more information from MPD about the stop involving Cornell McKinney and also the fired officers involved.
See, y'all? Everything comes out when you get in trouble. When you under the microscope, then that's when they want to start pulling everything out. Why ain't they pull this shit out before they even hired these officers? But let's get into this officer here. I think this is the one here that I'm about to show, allegedly, that Tyre Nichols was messing with his kid's mother. This the officer right here. We're going to get into it.
The department following Nichols' arrest and death. This afternoon, we're getting more insight into the history of one of the former Memphis police officers involved in the arrest of Tyre Nichols. Demetrius Haley is one of 5 officers that have been fired from the department following Nichols' arrest and death. This afternoon, another man claims he was beaten by Haley. WREG's Shay Arthur is live with that information. Shay?
Yeah, these allegations come from a lawsuit from several years ago where a man claims that he was beaten by Haley so bad he passed out.
Justice for Tyre. Justice for Tyre.
Before these chants,
Justice for Tyre. Justice for Tyre.
a now former inmate at the Shelby County Corrections Center claims he too was beaten by the same officer, now fired following the death of Tyre Nichols. The case goes back to 2016, when he filed a federal lawsuit against Demetrius, who worked the corrections center. The handwritten lawsuit claims officers came in for a random search after believing they saw smoke coming from the area. The man alleged he was strip searched in a restroom by Haley and another officer while a sergeant supervised. He claims the officers told him he tried to flush contraband, going on to say Haley and another officer punched him in the face, at one point saying the other officer picked him up and slammed him face first into a sink, then to the floor. After that, he passed out, waking up in a medical unit. In 2018, a judge dismissed the case, citing failures by the plaintiff, not submitting necessary information when requested. According to Memphis police, Haley was hired in August of 2020. For now, it's unclear what his role was in the incident earlier this month that landed Tyre Nichols in the hospital and later dead.
Now they saying he the officer that was messing with the girl that Tyre Nichols was working with at FedEx. And her and Tyre Nichols was supposed to allegedly have a relationship. And he didn't like it. This officer here, the one we just got finished watching, allegedly beating the inmate up. So it's a history. It's a history, brothers and sisters. That's the brother Tyre Nichols there. Savagely beaten. And if that story is true about him being beaten over a female, what did I tell y'all? When a nigga get killed in the hood or in the neighborhood, what is behind y'all? It's behind a female, 9 times out of 10. 9 times out of 10 in the African American community, when a nigga get killed, it's behind a female.
That landed Tyre Nichols in the hospital and later dead. MPD announced Haley had been terminated last week. And Alex, April, we have request.
That's that one. Now the other officer, the sister was talking about. Let's see. They was in some old. I think they was part of the boule. It was part of the boule. You know what I'm saying? So Lisa Cabero, that's her name, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to listen to Lisa Cabero and see what she got to say. Everybody got their own little input to put into the story. You know what I'm saying? Let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go over the past of another former Memphis police officer that took part in the murder.
Yeah, he was part of it too, ladies and gentlemen. This is another officer. This ain't the officer with the child's mom and Tyre Nichols. He was just brought aboard. I'm assuming he was just part of the go along, get along gang. Let's go.
Of Tyre Nichols. You know, we shouldn't be surprised that a lot of these men are going to come from a shady past. So I already did Demetrius Haley. This time we're doing Tadarrius Bean, former Memphis police officer involved in the murder, straight up murder. He was president of a Scar Scandal fraternity.
The boule.
Well, let's get into it. One of the 5 former Memphis police officers charged with the murder of the deadly beating of Tyre Nichols was president of a fraternity with several recent scandals at its chapters. Tadarrius Bean, 24, was president of the Omega Pi Phi Eta Zeta chapter.
Boule chapter.
And this was the University of Mississippi, according to LinkedIn. The fraternity was founded in 1911 at Howard University in Washington, D.C., a historically black college. It claimed to be on the front line, leveraging its power, influence, and more than 100 years of commitment to the upliftment of our people and our communities, according to Omega's website. But the fraternity and its members, however, have been involved with several troubling incidents in the recent years. In 2019, Omega's chapter at Old Dominion University in Norfolk, Virginia, was suspended over a slew of disturbing incidents involving pledges or people looking to join the Virginia pilot. Reported potential newcomers were beaten, and some were forced to chug hot sauce and pour it down their pants to simulate a sexually transmitted disease. What the hell?
Weirdos. These organizations, man, and these college fracks and all that shit, they weirdos, y'all. They fucking weirdos, y'all. They do some of the weirdest shit. To be a fucking member of a frat fraternity and shit, that they don't even stand on their fucking square when it comes to truth, justice, and equality for the American people. Because we know he was involved with Tyre Nichols' beating. Let's go.
Ooh, y'all some silly folks.
Yes, they are.
In 2018, a 45-year-old man looking to join the chapter in Brooklyn had his buttocks and testicles paddled between 150 and 200 times as part of a twisted welcoming ritual. What the hell? These are the kind of people that are out here policing y'all. Resulting in 2 of the fraternity members being charged with assault and hazing. Disturbing body cam footage released Friday shows Nichols being beaten, pepper sprayed, and tasered by the cops during a traffic stop on January 7th. The 29-year-old, an ex-FedEx worker and father of a 4-year-old boy, died just 3 days in the hospital. Yes. And I mean, and the fallout continues from this entire thing. It's a disgrace.
Yes, it is, sis. Big disgrace, man. Big disgrace, man. But it comes from self-hate. We see this every day in the African American community. Self-hate.
And what I'm going to do is, this is going to be a 2-for-1 special, because it's like, why do separate videos when I can knock them out in just one fell swoop? And their names are Tadarrius Bean, and that's the one on the left. And the one on the right, his name is Demetrius Haley. But what I'm going to do is, I'm going to focus on each of their stories separately within one video. So let's start with Tadarrius Bean. And let me just put it like this. When it comes to both of them, they're going to use this. I have a feeling that when this goes to trial, they're going to use this against them to further prove how violent they were, or the violent tendencies that they have, especially with these 2 right here. But it says Tadarrius Bean, former Memphis police officer involved in Tyre Nichols' killing, was president of a scandal-scarred fraternity. One of the 5 former Memphis police officers charged with the murder and the deadly beating of Tyre Nichols was the president of a fraternity with several recent scandals at its chapters. Tadarrius Bean, age 24, was the president of the Omega Psi Phi's
Beta Zeta chapter at the University of Mississippi, according to his LinkedIn page. The fraternity was founded in 1911 at Howard University in Washington, D.C., a historically black college. It claims to be on the front line, leveraging its power, influence, and more than 100 years of commitment to the uplift of our people and our communities, according to Omega's website. But the fraternity and its members, however, have been involved in several
sound just like Lisa, don't you?
In recent years. In 2019, Omega's chapter at Old Dominion University in Norfolk, Virginia, to emulate a second Hayes official oppression, and of course HBCU in terms of means that he most likely from age 18 means that he most likely tried to use the same tactics that he used on his pledges with Tyre Nichols. Now, mind you, this guy's only 24 years old. If he went to college at age 18 and went 4 years, that means he graduated 2 years ago, which means he's fresh out of college. Well, not fresh out of college, but a recent graduate. He's 2 years removed, so that means he graduated at 2021, somewhere around that range moment right there. Unless he turns 25 this year, then he most likely graduated in 2020. But either way, they're going to dig as far as they can, and they're going to use this. I have the biggest, strongest inkling that they're going to use what I just read to you against him. Now on to the next one, who is Demetrius Haley. Now this one right here is, if you thought what was going on with Tadarrius Bean was something, Demetrius Haley, with his situation, he was actually real hands-on with this one. So Demetrius Haley says he was it was an inmate that was in there that was brutally assaulted by this guy right here, and I believe it was another officer involved. They said, man who was allegedly assaulted in 2015 by ex-officer in Tyre Nichols' case speaks out. So now this person is speaking out about the brutalization that he endured at the hands of him. One of the 5 former Memphis police officers accused in the fatal beating of Tyre Nichols took part in beating an inmate nearly 8 years ago, according to the man who made the accusation in a 2016 lawsuit. Tadarrius, I'm guessing that's how you pronounce his name, Sledge, was serving a 3-year sentence for aggravated assault in 2015 when 2 correction officers beat him because he had a contraband cell phone. He said in an exclusive interview Wednesday from his halfway house. One of the officers
heard that too, ladies and gentlemen.
Cell block on me or the accused dismissal order. In the Nichols case that we can gain right now from that particular incident. But wow, this is crazy. And imagine if they would have got rid of this guy way back then, after what he did. He most likely would have been a cop right now, which means he wouldn't have been involved in what happened with Tyre Nichols. But like I said, this man has very violent tendencies, and they're going to use that against him in court. And I hope that they do. If all we know, they might call this Sledge individual in to testify against him and tell his story to a jury so they can be aware of what this guy's actually like. But all in all, I just wanted to bring this story to you, highlighting these 2 right here, because again, these are so far the 2 that they've dug into their past as far as getting information about them. If they release any more information about the other 3 that was involved, I'm going to make sure to talk about them as well. But yeah, they are definitely going to use what they found on them from their past and use that again. Of course.
They digging everybody's past when you go to court. When you was a juvenile, they bring up that shit. So, of course, they're going to dig into their past. But see, they need to dig into their past before they hire these officers. You know what I'm saying? Do a little researching. You know what I mean? Dig in their past. See what they're about. Stop just hiring people because y'all need workers. But with that being said, we're going to end this video here. We're going to come back with the attorney, Benjamin Crump. See what he got to say, ladies and gentlemen. And like I said, y'all seen videos, y'all heard different stories. Let it marinate, and then let you come up with your conclusion on what you think happened. Because we don't know what happened. Only people that know what happened is the officers and the brother Tyre Nichols. And he's not here to tell his side of the story. So we got to be the voice to speak for his side of the story, but we know what goes on in the African American community. So it's not that much to talk about. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back with attorney Benjamin Crump on his side of Tyre Nichols' family, what they got to say. Peace.